For decades, Africa has been the subject of countless conversations about poverty, aid, and development. But what if we have been asking the wrong questions? What if the future of African development depends less on charity and more on partnership? Today, I sit down with a remarkable leader who's helping communities across Africa answer that question.
In finding Africa Development Promise, I actually found my voice, because when I was in these other organizations, like I said, I was watching, I was listening.
Hello, and welcome back to the Mentium podcast, where we explore leadership, personal growth, and alignment so that you can achieve more, not just in results, but in purpose, impact, and fulfillment. I am your host, Madiama. As you know, we are currently in our Aligned Leadership series, where I sit down with leaders from different backgrounds to explore not only what they do, but who they are. Through the Mentium alignment framework, we examine identity, values, beliefs, skills, behaviors, and purpose to better understand what truly drives effective leadership. Today, I am excited to bring you a conversation with Monica LaBiche Brown, founder and executive director of Africa Development Promise. Monica's story is one of purpose, resilience, and deep commitment to service. Born in the Seychelles, but raised in Uganda, and now leading an organization dedicated to sustainable development across Africa. She offers a powerful perspective on leadership that is rooted in partnership rather than charity, empowerment rather than dependency, and long-term impact rather than short-term solutions. This is a rich conversation filled with wisdom, practical insights, and leadership lessons that apply whether you work in non-profit organization, business, education, government, or simply want to make a difference in your community. So sit back, grab a notebook if you have one, and enjoy my conversation with Monica LaBiche Brown of Africa Development Promise. Monica, can you talk to us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Well, thanks a lot, Madiama. It's an honor to be here on your podcast. It is really great to have the opportunity to discuss my work. And I especially appreciate the opportunity for Africans working in Africa to have this opportunity to showcase their work. So I am the founder and executive director of Africa Development Promise. Mm-hmm. And the story of Africa Development Promise is very much related to my life. I was born in the Seychelles Islands. Both my parents are from there. And at a very young age of 6 months, they decided to move to Uganda. So at 6 months, we moved to Uganda. And they went there in search of a better life, because Seychelles was still under the British and was underdeveloped. And Uganda was showing promise of gaining independence, and there was a lot of work going on. So my parents decided that that would be an opportunity for them to have a better life. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we moved to Uganda, and I lived there for about 15 years. And my father, his work was mainly around highway construction or road construction. And so he would travel to some of the most remote places of Uganda. My mother and I stayed in the capital of Kampala, and on school holidays, we would travel to go and visit him, and then he would come during the Christmas holidays and things like that. And it was during those times that I began to realize the difference in the life of rural people versus people in the city, because my mother and I stayed in the city. And when I say we traveled to places. It was like for 15 years, every time I had a holiday, I was going to visit my father. Now, my father, building the roads, had this strong belief that if you have the infrastructure, the rural areas would grow, you know. So he had that mindset, and he would always talk about the possibilities of development and the things that could happen as a result of roads. So that was kind of my first introduction to international development, although I didn't quite understand it at the time. But at the same time, in terms of who I am, living in Uganda was home, and yet it wasn't, because we were immigrants. We had come in from the Seychelles, and Uganda during those days was a very multicultural. So I grew up in a very multicultural environment, going to a very multicultural school. And so diversity was something that I really treasured. And yet I had this other side where I would go to these rural areas and see all the poverty, and I would see all the different things. But I think one of the things that is, for me, I had this dichotomy of going to some of the best schools, going to some of the best programs, and yet we were poor. And we were poor because of alcoholism in my family. And that was my father. And as much as I love my father, that was a disease that he had, that he really struggled with. And he had many ambitions, but that was the thing that kept him back. And as a result, kept all of us back. And when I say all of us, it's my mother and I, there were only 3 of us. And so when you grow up in an alcoholic home, you also learn that things are uncertain. You learn that things are, you have to watch the atmosphere in the room. And so I became very hypervigilant. I am always reading the room. And and so, but at the same time, I think that has helped me in many ways, because I am alert. And when I go into a situation, I can read it, and I am trying to figure out how I navigate that situation. And so it has served me well, though it was painful, you know. But anyway, in my journey to Africa Development Promise, we were forced out of Uganda. As Idi Amin took over, it became who was the president of the country, who had taken over from he had taken over from Milton Obote. So my father, who had taken up Ugandan citizenship to be able to work there, his citizenship was considered null and void. And though we are not Indians, the Indians were being expelled, and his citizenship was considered null and void. So it was one of those things like, what is he going to do? Because he's stateless. And he couldn't go back to Seychelles because Seychelles was still under the British. And the British, he had renounced his British subject. So my dad was left stateless. But my mother and I still held on to our British passport. At least I was still on her passport. And so then the Americans, the Canadians, the British all came in to take people out at the very last minute. And my father was able to get on the American plane. But they said your child and your wife cannot go with you because they have passports. So we were split at that point. And so my mother and I went back to Seychelles. My father came to the United States. So it wasn't until 2.5 years later that my father sent for us, and we joined him in South Carolina. So coming, as far as identity, and to tell you something about myself, I've always felt a little bit out of place in most places. Like I said, Uganda, we were immigrants, went back to Seychelles, and Seychelles, I wasn't quite Seychellois. I had never lived there. I had a different accent. I had a different everything. And so I was an outsider. And they called us people who came from mainland Africa, Kenya born. I don't care where you came from in Africa, but when you came back to Seychelles, you were Kenya born. And so it was Kenya born. It was a label that they gave you. And it was just to distinguish you as, yes, you may be Seychellois, but you're not one of us. I mean, you're other. And then coming to the United States, and then it's a whole new situation with identity, you know, and trying to find your place because people are trying to label you. Well, I've always known I was Black. Everybody around me was Black, you know. Politicians, you name it, they were all Black. But when you come and you have that label and it has a stigma with it, it's a whole other thing, you know. And then I'm trying to fit in and to find my way around. My parents are feeling like I'm moving too fast and that I'm not fitting in. I'm forgetting my culture and things like that. It was really difficult. So, but the one thing that I realized when I got here is like people live in excess. Whereas there are people who live in Black, and then there are other people who live in excess. And as I was navigating through all of that, I was fortunate enough to go into international development. And so I worked at the World Bank. I was there for about 12 years. This is after college. And then after that, I moved to Colorado because my parents had moved here and my father's health was failing. I'm an only child, so I had to come home and help. But in coming back, I went to work for an organization called Water the People. A wonderful organization that does water and sanitation in developing countries. And so with that, I had the opportunity to go back to Uganda. And actually Uganda, Rwanda, and Malawi. But in returning back to Uganda and seeing all the changes that had happened, it's so exciting to see how the city is bustling and has moved on. And yet when you go to the rural communities, it's just the same. It's like time stood still and nothing had changed. And so Water for People was trying to do some market-based approaches to water and sanitation. But as we were doing our monitoring and evaluation, it became evident that women weren't interested in sanitation as a business or water as a business. What they were interested in is agriculture, because they were doing subsistence agriculture. So the question was, okay, now that you have your water close to you and your sanitation is working right, what is it that you would do? And they said, tend to my garden, farm, whatever. Okay, how do you make money? And so this is where then the idea of supporting women who were the ones who were the breadwinners of the house, because they're the ones who feed the household with their farming. How do we help? And so I did quite a bit of research on that for many years, I'd say a couple of years, before I decided that this was a path that I wanted to take. And it stemmed mainly from, like I said, I grew up poor. I know what poverty looks like, and it may not have been as poor as them, but nonetheless, it is a painful situation that I felt like this is something that I can give back to, because I have all this experience in international development.
Well, Monica, thank you so much. That was a very detailed introduction that I know our viewers will definitely appreciate. As you know, I will be using the Mentium alignment framework to do the interview. And one of the pillars of the framework is actually identity. You were able really to explain that at length, because your identity is very complex, as I understand it. Born in the Seychelles, but also like moved in Uganda, moved back to Seychelles, and grow up again in the US. So what did that identity prepare you for as a leader?
As a leader, and actually the journey has been a little bit difficult because of that. I had to learn how to switch. I actually sometimes felt like a chameleon, because depending on the situation that you're in, like I said, I was always watchful, hoping that I fit in and that I belonged. And so when I go into places, I look for where I belong, who is my tribe, who is my group that I feel comfortable with and who I feel aligned with. And so it took me a while to learn that I'm different. I'm different in these various scenarios that I might go in because of that complex moving around and being in the in-between, trying to kind of figure out where I fit in. So how did that help me as a leader? I would say that being alert and being aware and being someone who listened, I then would get into situations where sometimes I found myself, I am pretty quiet. I'm a quiet person. And my quietness is because I'm listening and I'm watching and I'm learning. And that has really helped me, because a lot of times people are talking and they don't pay attention to the people that aren't. And some people don't feel heard. And to me, it's really important that people feel heard and feel seen. And in watching, you see the people who aren't heard and making room for them and saying, oh, you know what? We haven't heard from so-and-so, or looks like so-and-so has a comment, or what are your thoughts? And by allowing people to talk and giving them that space and making them feel like they're important enough is a value that I have, and one that I have learned because I watch and I listen. So it comes from a dysfunctional place, but it has served me well.
Look, identity is identity. It cannot be fabricated. Whatever it is that you went through to form who you are will serve you. And to me, there is like no need or even any reason to label it somewhat, or to, I don't know how to put it, like, or not to accept it, because it is something that will form you for who you are. Now, on your last sentence, you mentioned values. It is one of your values. And as you know, values are the second pillar of the Mentium alignment. Can you talk to me about Like, what values really guide your decisions as a leader? Because where you are a leader is very important to talk about. You did not, of course, after your tenure or your time at the UN, certainly you worked around the world, or at least made decisions that will affect people all over the world. But you chose specifically to set up an organization that is serving women in the rural areas in Africa. Not just Uganda, but you serve people around. Like, when you go there, what are the values that are guiding your decisions on a day-to-day basis dealing with these ladies?
I would say for these ladies, you will find that most of them had already formed cooperatives, and that they knew the value of working together and where that could be. And despite their situation, they were working together to make a different life for themselves. So partnership was what they had. And what they were looking for from Africa Development Promise was partnership as well. And so what I took away from any of my meetings with them, and they were, and these women are very frank. They'll tell you exactly what they feel. And what they said is that they've seen people come in to support them. They come in and they leave, and you never see them again. They do a little thing and they leave. What they want is partnership, is somebody that's going to stay with them for the long haul and make sure that whatever we're working on together that we agree to comes to fruition. And so, in terms of a leader of Africa Development Promise, and the word promise is intentional, is that we promise to be with you until we reach the finish line of what we agreed to before. So partnership is one of my values. The other is inclusion or belonging, and making space for people, like I said, to be seen and heard. And women are the ones who are not seen and heard in these rural areas. They do all the work, but they're never seen. The support comes in from the government or other organizations. They completely ignore the women. And yet the women are the ones who know what's going on in the community. They know the resources that are available in the community and things like that. And so it's important for them to be seen and heard, and for them working together as women-led cooperatives to grow and build their skills and gain the technical assistance that they need.
I'm sitting here listening to how you explained to this. Like, for those ladies to say clearly that they want partnership, for me is something powerful. Because in my younger days, like I think when I just graduated from college with the master's, I worked for a company. I don't want to name any names right now, but my experience there taught me that many of the NGOs who come to Africa to work over there, most of them were actually exploiting people back there. Because the one that I worked with dealt with children, and they were always taking pictures in the rural areas and what have you, and then bring them here to look for sponsors for those children. They would always say, like, $30 can sponsor a child for a whole month. They would give him meal, water, what have you. But working with those organizations taught me that the $30 that these people from here would sponsor a child with, the child would not even see $5 of that money. I mean, if it is $5, then it is even a lot. So no wonder those people would say, look, we don't want you just to come and try to help. We want partnership, because partnership would look like something different. Because most of the time when they do this type of thing, they will come not to even ask you what you need. They just assume, as we were having in a discussion earlier where we were together before the show, people will just assume that this is the problem, this should be the solution. But they would make a ton of money doing that, because when they come here, collect all those donations, I would say maybe even like 1/4 of the money raised will not reach those people that they are using. Now, for you, with your background, what type of beliefs did you have to change in order to really assume the current role as a leader? Because if you grew up here, if you stayed here long enough, there were some certain beliefs that you might have about people back there, even though you spend some of your childhood years over there. But being here, going to school, graduated, you must have formed some kinds of beliefs about Africa, about people in Africa. What did you have to change in order to assume the role that you have now at the Africa Development Promise? Yes.
I don't know that I had to change too much, because I am a proud African. And that's how I introduce myself, and nothing changes about that. It's who I am, So, I think for me, it was a lot of educating people here. I was actually amazed at how little people know about Africa, and on top of that, the misconceptions that they are. I mean, I was poor. I was poor by African standards. I was, and what I mean by that is I went to school with daughters of ministers and people like that. Those were the affluent people that I was around. But I knew the lifestyle. I knew what was possible. And so when I come to the United States and people are asking me some ridiculous questions like, how do you speak English? It's, it's like, I can't believe that you would actually ask me that. So anyway, in time, I began to realize how ethnocentric the American way of life is. It's changed a lot over the years, but I'm talking about in the time that I moved here. And so it took a lot of educating and having people understand that there's more to Africa. It's so complex that there's so much more to Africa than what you see on the news, And so, but getting back to your example of the money not reaching the people, it is exactly why I started my own organization, because I saw that it was bloated at the headquarters. People in the countries see barely any money. And then the thing that really got me was, they have to have skin in the game. And they have to bring an amount of money. Well, what are you bringing? You, the person who's working in this thing, you're getting free money that's being donated that you're using. And you expect the beneficiaries to have skin in the game. But not only that, it's nonprofits have these games that they play with functional allocation and things like that. So for me, Africa Development Promise, it's me and volunteers in Denver. All our staff are in Rwanda and Uganda. They're the ones doing the work, and they're the ones helping the people. And so we keep it as lean as possible, because the money needs to go where it needs to be. And that is something that is really important to me, that the money reaches.
But where do you get funding to do all this work? Where do you get the money?
I fundraise. And so, when I worked at Water for People, I was Deputy Director of Resource Development, which is fundraising. And so most of the funding comes from foundations and individuals, corporations as well. And so I make a plan and I fundraise. The landscape has changed, though, with the situation that we find ourselves in. Trying to get it is really difficult. And so the good thing is that in both countries, we've already switched to a social enterprise where they can charge for services, and so the company can keep going. The other in Rwanda is still requires the funding, but it's not as intensive. So we've made some adjustments that have helped us in terms of not requiring as much funding as we did before.
Thank you so much, Monica, for that. I think this will lead us to our next segment, which is skills and talents. I wanted to know, what prepared you for this job? What skills and talents did you have to acquire in order to do what you are doing right now? Because it might seem like, I only need the will to do the job and I'm able to do the job. Well, that might not be the case. You either must have studied, and as you mentioned earlier, you did a lot of research, but what prepared you to be really good at your job as the leader here?
And it's my experience, having been at the World Bank and also at Water for People. Those are the two organizations that were the anchors for my experience, which allowed me to try and do this, because starting a nonprofit is not easy. And you have to know the mechanics of how to run a nonprofit, what are the rules and regulations. And so oftentimes I meet people, and I've been trying to help a lot of people who want to start nonprofits because they want to help people back home. And it is something that I try to help them with. But at the same time, if you don't have the experience, it makes it much harder to do than if you have the experience. So fortunately, through World Bank and through Water for People, I had roles where I was a fundraiser, where I was an administrator, where I knew the rules. And so starting an organization, we could take off faster. Plus, Water for People worked in Rwanda and Uganda. So I just piggybacked off the partnerships that we already had. If I had to form a whole new set of partnerships, it would have taken me way longer than I did now.
Absolutely. For those who are watching, this is the Align Leader series. And then you might as well see that we move from identity, values, belief, and talents and skills, which means that you cannot be a leader or an effective leader if you are not aligned inside. everything that we've talked about so far showed that you just didn't wake up one day, had an idea, and then just go for it and start leading people. As you said earlier, your work at the UN, but also at the organization with which you work in Denver, was really the anchors of your experience, but also of your skills and talents that you can transfer to the people back home and work with them as partners. I always want to emphasize on that. When I heard that, it warmed my heart that you can go back there and consider them as partners, because that's not what usually non-profit organization would do. They will do and dictate an agenda. They will go and dictate their mission, and the mission is crystal clear. Let's go and make money, while we are showing that maybe we can help people. Because everything that you show, because part of it is also part of those organizations are what is showing the ugly side of Africa. Because if you only listen to them, the only thing you will know about Africa is poverty, it is drought, it is disease, it is like all those crazy things, because it works well for them. It is their benefit. If you show me hunger and then you say this kid only needs $2 a month to survive, well, I have $2, I'll give it to you, or give you even 10. What if you do that around the country and you have like hundreds of thousands of people giving you that? It is a lot of money, but yet you are not helping them the way it should. But it takes people like you. And this leads me to the next question, which is about behavior. You know, I would always say people do not experience your intention. They experience your behavior. And the behaviors of these NGOs is really exploitation. The intention might be, hey, let's go there and do some good work, but what they're doing, what they're actually doing is not what the intention set forth. Now, for you, what are like the practices, what are the things that you do day in and day out that to make sure that the mission of Africa Development Promised is not hijacked by either people on the ground or people who are donating, or like whoever? What are the practices that you would do it?
One of the practices that we intentionally do is that we listen. When we identify a cooperative that we're going to work with, what we do is what we call a stage gate assessment. We sit down with them and we ask the questions. They tell us like what the governance is like and what the business management is like, all these questions, and we verify. It's like if we ask them, do you manage, do you do your financial management? Yes, we do. Can we see it? We look at it, and but we talk and and this assessment could take almost a week or two. But by the time we finish, they know where they stand, because they understand what their shortcomings are. We understand what they know. And this is the thing. We build on what they know. It's important that they have the confidence that what they know works, and we build on that. And so we develop a plan of what we're going to do. At the end of the year, we look again at the plan together with them. Do you think we accomplished this? No, we didn't because of X. And oh, yes, and we surpassed it because we did this, this, and this. So the next year's plan becomes a little bit different. But when we stay stage gate, there's a stage at the beginning, and then there's a stage at the end. At the end is where we exit, because at that point, we feel like we're sustainable. It might take us 5-6 years to get there, but it's not a project. It's not one of those things, oh, the money's gone, therefore we leave. If the money is gone, we go look for money somewhere else. we keep looking for money until this thing gets done. Okay, so the thing that we do is we stay. And when I said the name Promise, it's intentional, because the very first cooperative I met, they had a name that was Ingabo Ikingera Ubakeni. So I said, what does that mean? So they said, the shield that protects against poverty. And I thought to myself, wow, these people are really intentional about naming themselves. And at that time, I hadn't found a name. And in trying to develop a name for Africa Development Promise, I wanted it to be that Africans are developing themselves. But the promise is that we, as the outsider coming in, are going to stay. And that is really important to me because, like I said, with coming from a history of alcoholism, there's a lot of broken promises. There's a lot of not completing what you said you're going to do. So those are, going back to values, those are values to me that we have to come to completion, no matter how long it takes. And you'll find that these women actually their level of education is low. So in order to get them to, being able to do financial management and things like that, you have to work with them for a pretty long time. So that's why it takes 5-6 years. And some people will say, you're enabling them. No, we're not enabling them. We are standing by them until they get it right. And then when they can tell us even, we don't need you anymore,
Look, 5 to 6 years might seem a very long time for somebody who's in it for the short term. But if you are in it for the long term, that is just the right amount of time to train people and give them self-reliance, because you are not there forever. But if you do the work right, they will be able to carry on, even if you move on to another country. I am really, I admire what you do back there, because I know many of us are in the diaspora, but most of us, we always think of what can we do in our own village or in our own family. But for you not to be born there, not to even live there anymore, but you still have that passion of going back and helping out, you must feel that this is something bigger than you. And that is the next segment here. The 6th pillar of the Mentium alignment is purpose and connectedness. What do you think is bigger than you? What is really moving you to this why to do the work in Africa? Because you could have said, look, I was born in the Churchill. Yes, Uganda raised me for a while, but I think I already paid my dues. I'm now in the US. Let me live my life here in peace. What is that urge? What is really pushing you to go back there and do the work that you were doing?
So I will say it's a selfish reason.
Well, tell me about it.
Yeah. And, well, there's several reasons, but mainly it's a selfish reason. In finding Africa Development Promise, I actually found my voice, because when I was in these other organizations, like I said, I was watching, I was listening. There was a lot of internal politics that I did not like, and like I said, some people were heard and some people weren't. It depended on how you played the game. I don't want to play that game. I just wanted to be. And what I have found is as the women grow and as they prosper, I'm growing as well. I am learning to trust my judgments and not having to wonder about some internal politics of what somebody might say about what I'm trying to accomplish. And so I've always wanted to be in international development. I've always wanted to give back to African communities. And so my purpose is that if I can't do it, I will help another person do it if they want to go back to their home country or wherever to be able to support. Because like we were saying, talking this morning, there are needs and that there are opportunities that we can respond to the needs at the community level and make a difference, And so there's no time to wait and no time to think that somebody else is going to do it. Let's just do it. And so if I'm going to do it, I can't do it all by myself. My organization can only touch a few people. If, like I said to people, if I die tomorrow, I will have known that I have made an impact in some people's lives, who can then push it on to other people. But at the same time, what I try to do is if you want to start, you're trying to start an organization in another country, in Kenya or in Mali, whatever the case may be, and you ask for my help, I will help you, because I've been through it and I know what it's like. So for me, the purpose is Africa. Africa's waking up. Africa's on the move, and we just need to push it a little bit, and we'll get there.
Look, Monica, this is so beautiful. You see me smiling in this last segment a lot, and here's why. When I ask you this question, the first thing that came out of your mouth was honesty. It was raw. It was integrity, because you said it was a selfish reason. But was it? Was it really a selfish reason? Let's sit with that for a while, because selfish is a word that we get used around a lot, and sometimes, or most of the time, the connotation is negative. But what if I told you that because of that selfishness that you named before, many people are being impacted for the right reasons? Because of you wanting to find your voice, now a program or an organization is born that is helping a lot of people. So sometimes then it is worth being selfish in the beginning, because there is a saying in my native language that says "Balanganinam nefa." Literally translated, it means like before you say present, you have to be there. So then selfishness is not a bad thing. Selfishness, sometimes it can be self-care. Because if you realize that, hey, I don't have a voice, but maybe if I had a voice, I could do X, Y, Z. Starting an organization with a selfish reason to find your voice is not something negative at all. Because, well, we only want proof of that by going to Uganda and ask those ladies who are working with you. Because when I see the pictures that you were in with them, I don't see dominance over anybody. What I'm seeing is really, as you describe it, it was partnership. You were working with people. You were working, matter of fact, you might as well be working for them, because like, what's in it for you? That's what I said earlier. You could have said, look, I am good where I am right now. I don't need anybody. I don't need anything to show that I have arrived. Because you understand pretty well that success is not a destination. It is a journey, and you are on that journey. and doing tremendous work. The reason why really I wanted to have you on the show is for you to tell your story, but also tell the great work that you were doing. You could easily say, I am a fan of yours. Like the first day I met you in class, there was something in your voice and in the way you were poised when you speak. Man, people listen. You can command audiences. You can command rooms. And this is what I would end with. I know the main reason why you joined public speaking, as you told me, was to be able to go around on a book tour. Can you talk to us a little bit about the book, why you were writing it, when can we expect it? Talk to me, please.
Yeah, so the book is a work in progress. And I expect that by Christmas it'll be ready to be shared. Okay. In the meantime, it's actually my journey, but my journey, and this is what I love about your work, is alignment. Is the journey in finding alignment in my life where I could be free to be who I wanted to be. And so that is what I want to share, especially with women immigrants coming to the United States.
My friend, again, I just love this. I love this. Now, as I would always end, if there is anything that you wanted to talk about and I didn't ask you, please share that.
Well, I think we've discussed most of what there's a lot more to me, but based on the subjects that you asked me, I feel comfortable with what people would know about me and Africa Development Promise. It is something that is a work that is dear to my heart, and it is one that I have sacrificed a lot. And it's not just me, it's my whole family. Because if I didn't have the backing of my family, it would have been very hard for me. But I'm grateful to my husband and to my children that I can do this work and travel as much as I have to. And it's not an issue that I have to deal with it.
Look, before you close, while you were answering that, something came to my mind. Like, if you were to give a piece of advice to a young leader on like how to approach leadership, what to do about it, and how to conduct themselves, what would you tell them?
I would say that they would have to learn to trust themselves, that their journey to where they are right now is preparing them to take any opportunity that comes to them. Don't be afraid of it. Just take it. Try it. If it doesn't work, that's fine. You try something else. It's just being willing to try and giving yourself permission to do that and to fail and to get up again and try again. That is the thing that I would say to anyone who is truly wanting to lead, because we always expect perfection, but perfection is not the answer. It's just a matter of trying and getting to where you want to go.
I love it. I love it. That's a beautiful way to end this. Perfection is not attainable because it is divine, but excellence is always within our reach. Thank you so much, Monica, for accepting to appear on the show, on this podcast. It has been a pleasure to have this conversation with you. For everybody else who is watching, thank you for joining us, for spending this time with us. We truly, truly appreciate it. And as I would always end, take care of yourself and your loved ones. I am Madiama, and this is Mentium. Peace.